Real Dad Talk, episode 42, Fatherhood.
Welcome everyone. Chris B here along with Rob K. How you doing, Rob?
What up, Sibo? I'm great. How you doing, man? I'm excited about today's show.
I am too. There he is, Mr. Diamond D. Carter, aka Rapping Dad, aka. How are you?
Doing
What up,
good.
D?
Thanks, Chris and Rob, for having me on. What's up? We got to throw down today.
It took what, like a year to put this together?
Because you wanted me live. You wanted me to come to LA live, and I was only in LA one time this last year out of like 75 events that I did or something like that. And I'm like, man, we could do it on Zoom. And then Zoom became powerful, and it's a big tool now. So we're here.
Awesome.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
So some of our listeners may not know of you. A bunch of people already know about you. You're an author of 7 books. You are a motivational speaker. You are a father, and you've been on shows including, Steve Harvey, etc. Yada yada yada.
Yeah.
Amazing. So what are your dad stats?
I got 4 kids that I know of. No, I'm playing.
Hey, that's the line I use. That's exactly the line I use.
My wife hates it when I say that. My wife is like, he's being a boy.
Right. And when she's heard it like a million times, she's
she just rolls her eyes. And
this has been
5 kids I don't know of, she says.
It's been on many podcasts. Chris has dropped that on us. I love it. I love that line.
So, amongst all that, you really have an amazing story.
Thank you, sir.
And it really literally begins from the womb.
Yeah.
I call it from the womb to the stage.
Yeah.
That's your whole journey, and it knock on wood, it's continuing on today. So, but for the people out there who don't know about you, please bless them with your story.
Yeah, so it's that womb, and I call it the original wound. You know what I'm saying? Womb and wound. That's a rhyme right there. Check it out. Okay.
Right.
So how I came in this world is a crazy story. My mom had been sexually abused by men in her past. She'd been raped, and a man forced himself on her. And when she told this man, I'm pregnant with your kid, he says, you better go get an abortion. If you don't get an abortion, I'll kill the kid myself. So at 3 months, no abortion, 6 months, no abortion, 7 months pregnant. My mom is waitressing at a restaurant in San Diego, California, down towards you guys, right? LA, San Diego, Southern Cal, and doing her job, waiting tables. At 7 months pregnant, you got a nice bump there, and I'm enjoying myself, swimming in the amniotic fluid and the warmth of my mother's womb. I like to think positive because it's about to get crazy. And my 6'4" dad comes into that restaurant in a fit of rage where she's waiting tables, doing her job, and he grabs my mother by her long blonde hair, whiplashes her to the floor, drags her back into the kitchen, and continues to stomp on her stomach over and over again to abort me, to kill me. But I lived. I freaking lived. See,
Amen.
God has a way. Listen, God has a way of taking broken pieces and turning them into masterpieces. You know what I'm saying? And not letting our weaknesses or other people's weaknesses destroy our greatness. And so my dad went to prison. My mom got back with this man. I never understood until about 30 years old when I eventually met my biological mom 25 years later after they abandoned me when I was 5, because I didn't have that compassion muscle at that point at 30 and that empathy muscle to understand her. But here's the key. Everybody has a story. You, Rob, you, Chris, me, we all got stories. And we got to learn to tap into that compassion and empathy muscle and look at beyond ourselves and realize that, holy crap, this guy, his story is vulnerable, but it can empower so many people. And see, my mom's story was that she left her house at 14 years old because she had been abused by her dad. And then what'd she do? She chose men like her dad who kept abusing her, right? She dropped out in 9th grade. My mom doesn't have anything going on. She has me. She changes my last name to Clark, which is a nobody, because my dad says, if I ever find that kid, I'll kill that kid. So she eventually had enough courage when when my dad got out of prison, she got back with him, I'm sorry. And after about a year and a half of brutal abuse and stuff that I went through, she finally had enough courage to run away. And I have an older sister who's 10 years older from a different dad. And we run. My mom, obviously, no high school education, doesn't have a driver's license, doesn't have anything going on. And we live in a park in El Cajon, California, down below San Diego, living in a park with other homeless people, all three of us.
Man.
My mom finds a broken stroller in the dumpster because I'm about almost 2 years old, puts me in the stroller with 3 wheels, pushes me on the street, begging for money, balancing that stroller, and she gets $2. Back in those days, you could get a hamburger and a Coke and a fry for $2 at McDonald's. And we go to McDonald's and that's our Christmas Day meal, splitting that 3 ways between my sister, my mom, and I. And life was tough, living in a 1-car garage, being homeless. And then when they were done with me, my mom actually found another man. And I remember she said to me as an adult, I needed to find a guy that had money. And I remember he had a yellow boat, he had a blue Camaro, and we moved into his house. And it was like going from an iPhone 4 to an iPhone 11. It was like going from a 25-inch black and white television screen to a 75-inch Ultra 4K HD TV. My life was in freaking color. I had a bedroom, I had toys, I had a bed, I had all these things that I thought were amazing. And a dad, or my mom's boyfriend, that was the man figure in my life, seemed like he liked me until my mom got pregnant with his kid. And then he turned on me, and my mom married him. And my new stepdad did lots of brutal child abuse. I have scars all over me from brutal child abuse from my mom, my stepdad, and my dad. And
how old are you at this point?
I'm 5 years old at this point, and they decide to put me in a car. And they put me in the car, and we drive, and we get to this big building, and we get out, and we walk in this building, and my mom and my stepdad are talking to a few people. And then a guy in a white coat says, Derek, come with me. And I look at my mom, and I don't ever remember my mom saying, I love you. I don't ever remember my mom holding me on the lap and saying, good night, reading Good Night Gorilla, Go Dog Go, the Berenstain Bears, Dr. Seuss, nothing. My mom left and turned away with her husband. And they abandoned this little cute 5-year-old boy at a psychiatric hospital. And when you're at a psychiatric facility like I was at, they do a lot of tests on you, a lot of psychiatric evaluations, psychological exams, speech and language evaluations, brain scans. I have them all from my records from Alameda County, Oakland, California records. And they gave me all these diagnoses, Rob and Chris. They gave me all these diagnoses: erratic psychosis, emotionally disturbed, will never function properly, mentally R. They gave me a diagnosis as mentally R. I don't even like saying the R word. They gave me all these things, and they said I was not adoptable because of my behavioral and emotional problems. But I'm here to tell you, every kid is adoptable. Every kid deserves love.
Right on.
The only time, man, Chris and Rob, the only time you turn your back on a kid is for them to hop on for a piggyback ride, a horsey ride.
Yes, sir.
You never give up on a kid. It doesn't matter what religion, what your cultural background, what color. We all have one thing in common, man. We were all once children. So where's our compassion for the kids, right? Where's our empathy for the kids and trying to understand them and create and mold them? And they molded me the wrong way. They say the first 5 years is the most formidable. And I didn't know what love was. I thought love was you abuse me. I know that's hard to understand, but when I was speaking with my mom 25 years later, and she said to me, I thought that's what love was, is that you abuse me, it all clicked, because that's how we were raised. So it was up to me to break the generational curses, the generational cycles, and start passing on to my kids generational blessings. You know what I'm saying?
So what happened after you were in that facility?
Oh, we got to go deep. Okay. I thought I was talking too long, so I had to give you a little.
Man,
break.
no,
Okay.
I mean, you got an amazing story, and
Thank you.
this ends up shaping ultimately, the father that you are. So
Right.
I really want to hear this. Rob,
So-
you want to hear this?
Yeah.
Of course, because from all these negative and bad times in your life, you made something positive out of it. So yeah, this is something that all our listeners should be listening to, because it's not impossible. There's nothing that's impossible on this earth, and Derek is an example of that.
Thank you, Rob, Chris. Okay, so here's the deal. 5 years old, I lose everything in my life. I lose my mom, my dad, my brother, my sister, my aunts, my uncles, my grandma, my grandpa, my bedroom, my toys. my self-respect, my
Gone.
identity, my self-love, everything is lost. But over the years, I learned how to turn nothing into something. And here's how it was. It was about the tribe, like that African proverb that says it takes a village, right? But
Yeah.
when would the village come? Because everybody's just picking Derek apart. Nobody's investing in me. And so I get transferred to the from the psychiatric facility to a shelter for unadoptable kids called Snedeker Cottage, right outside Oakland, California. And there's a shelter for adoptable kids, but then I'm at the shelter for unadoptable kids. And guess where that place is? It's a building behind juvie.
That's
Oh.
crazy.
So I'm in
That's
a building
crazy.
behind
Quick
juvie.
transfer.
Yeah. And so I went through a series of foster homes. I was never adopted, but I went through a series of foster homes. And then there was this one foster home that kept me long term. And these foster parents, they invested in me. They were both educators. That's the key, man. They were, what do educators do? What do educators do? They're supposed to look for the potential in a child,
And
right?
maximize
And-
that.
right.
Correct.
And help them achieve their greatness, find their value, right? And that's why school sometimes is such a great safe haven, because a lot of kids, they go to school to be safe. You know what I'm saying? Because there's a lot
Yeah.
of domestic violence or abuse or alcoholism or drugs at home and stuff. So they go to school and that's their safe place. And so educators, my foster parents, started working with me. I learned to run. You wouldn't know this, I'm 6'5", but I wouldn't learn to run till 7 years old because I had small and large motor skill problems. I didn't learn to run till 7. I didn't learn to walk up and down stairs till about 6.5 years old. I would just fall. I never timed myself. My vocabulary at 6 years old was approximately 60 to 70 words, which were mainly nasty words, curse words. The average in America for a 6-year-old, their vocabulary is 2,600 words. The average for a 3-year-old is 300 words. They said I was mentally ill. They said I had all these behavioral, psychiatric issues and stuff. And so what did my foster parents do? They started loving on me. They started investing in me. And they realized at about almost 9 years old, when I had more brain scans at 8 years old, trying to figure out what's going on with Derek's brain. They realized that I was a sponge, Rob and Chris, that I was a sponge. It's just that nobody had ever invested in me, and everybody just believed the labels, believed the files. But let me tell you, I've hung out personally with Special Olympic champions, Special Olympians that can bowl better than me, that can run faster than me, that can shoot a free throw basketball better than me, that can swim better than me. You never limit the potential of a child. And that's what these educators do. They started to look at, wow, this kid is limitless. I started to read and write at about 8, 9 years old. Then they put me on a clarinet at 10 years old. They needed me to have a creative outlet. So what they realized is I wasn't all these diagnoses. Yeah, I had some major problems. I was angry. But what they realized inside of this angry kid is somewhere deep inside this kid's a happy boy, somewhere. So they started working on creative outlets. And that's what's missing in this world now is, I tell parents all the time, what are your kids doing for a creative outlet? Oh, they play video games. That's a zone out. Oh, they read books. That's a zone out. Oh, they play sports. That's a physical outlet. What are they doing that makes their heart sing, the inside sing, the oxygen for their soul, I call it, right? So music became my oxygen for my soul. They started putting me on the clarinet. 10 years old, I would have to wake up from 6 to 7, practice that clarinet every morning from Monday through Saturday. Then from 7 to 7:30, work with my foster dad on memorization skills. And then another half an hour after school. So 2 hours a day. By the time I was, plus band lessons, private lessons, symphonic lessons. By the time I was 12 years old, I became a prodigy clarinet player. What does that mean? That means that at 12 years old, I was competing at Cal State universities against university students and winning competitions against them. Because at 12 and 13 years old, I had memorized 8 to 10 page concertos.
Wow.
That's awesome.
And
That's
so
crazy,
the clarinet is the beginning for me. The clarinet was I call it my licorice stick. And that gave me my self-esteem, that started building my self-value. And then I could stand in front of hundreds of people at 12 years old, 13 years old. What 12-year-old can do that now, right? But in front of hundreds of people, and they would clap for me or give me standing ovations. And I realized, oh my gosh, if I work at something, I can be good at something.
Yeah.
So did the learning the instrument help you in rapping or in being in front of an audience, or both? I mean, how
Yeah.
did it influence you?
Yeah, it helped me with rap because I was about 16 years old and my life is going out of control. I'm in hell. My sister has been shot and killed. My brother's been killed. My good friend's been shot and killed, all within 16 to 17 years old. And I am an angry, angry kid in foster care. I'm getting suspended all the time for fighting. I loved fighting, fighting from the womb, basically. I love fighting. Even today, I like fighting. I just won't do it because I don't want to get sued. But I got a lot to lose now, but I've done my martial arts and all stuff. There's something inside of me that just loves to fight.
Competitive,
right?
yeah.
So you basically channel that to rap. What is rap? Battling, right? Rap is like a fight, a lyrical fight, right? And so
using your intellect, up here.
And so I remember I was hanging out with my good friend, well, one of my best friends, Arlen Green, African-American kid, and we're hanging out in the schoolyard, and I see a bunch of people over in the corner going, huh, 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 huh. And I'm all like, dude, what's over there? A fight? He goes, nah, dude, they doing battles.
Oh, they're battling.
I go, what, battles? He goes, rap. I'm like, rap crap. I don't listen to rap. I listen to skater, death punk, crazy music about killing myself. So when I was 16 years old, I was this punk with horns and everything. I was a skater punk.
Okay.
So yeah, and so, but something inside of me told me, go check it out. And I said, Arlen, come with me. AG, come with me. His initials were AG, so we called him AG, and he came with me. And I get in this circle, and I see something that changes my life forever. I see two guys battling each other, not fighting with their fists.
Right.
They're talking about their moms, they're cussing at each other, they're going crazy on each other. And I go, dude, I want to be a rapper. He goes, nah, D, you white, you can't do that. And I'm all, I want to be a rapper. He goes, nah, D, you got no rhythm. I had no rhythm at that point. But I knew without a shadow of a doubt, I didn't want to be that skater punk anymore. I wanted to be a rapper. So I said, let me battle, and they go, C-Dub, they call me C-Dub, which is short for CWB, Crazy White Boy. Because I went to Hayward High. If you just YouTube my high school, Hayward High gangs, Hayward High fights, Hayward High riots. That's my school.
You pop up.
Yeah. Well, I don't pop up because that was before YouTube, you know what I'm saying? But like, I'm glad I did all my bad stuff before the internet. But but he I wanted to battle somebody, and they go, C-Dub, get out of here, you suck, you suck. I'm like, oh, okay, I want to fight. And they go, here, no, you can battle this guy. This guy comes down, starts clowning on me, talking about my mom, talking about my race, talking about things he's going to do with my girlfriend later on. Like, he's going crazy on
the
me.
Usual.
Yeah. And I turned to Arlen, I go, dude, this guy is so cool. And Arlen goes, look hard, dude, look hard. Because I'm all smiling, rap isn't complimentary. It's not like, oh, your hair's cool.
Right.
So it was my turn. And I started with the F word, I remember, because that was my favorite word back then. And I couldn't find any cool words to rhyme with it, and everything was out of control. I only lasted about 3 seconds. And they go like this. They go, CCW suck. I go, hey, don't call me C-Dub. Call me Rippin' D. Rippin' D. And they go, Rippin' D. I go, yeah, Rippin' D is cool. I like Rippin' D. I got street credibility right now. Rippin' D. And they go, Rippin' D.
Oh, look at you.
Rippin' D, you whack. The girls, everybody would tell me, Rippin' D, you whack. Everybody, I'm serious. Even you'll see in my yearbooks, Rippin' D, what's up? That was my name for quite a while. I go down A hall, B hall, C hall at high school, and everybody go, what's up, Rippin' D, you whacked. I didn't care. I thought it was the GOAT, greatest of all time.
Right.
The mental health issues back then,
Yeah.
right? But here's the deal. Rap was the taxi to my spirit. Rap was the master key to the prison in my mind.
Mm-hmm.
And so what did I do? I started writing all the pain of my past. It was all dark, but learning how to do syllable arrangement, learning how to rhyme better, learning how to stretch out the syllables, learning how to do syncopation. And then my friend gave me a reggae mixtapes back then. Peter Tosh, Yellow Man, Lucky Dubé, Bob and Ziggy Marley. I started vibing to reggae. And I started listening to reggae, and I thought, oh my gosh, what if I could mix reggae with rap? That would trip everybody out. And then in one of my battles, Rippin' D was coming up. I did something like, I'll be that thing. And people are like, what'd you just do there? And then I realized I had a gift from the clarinet.
Yes.
Everybody who's played a woodwind instrument like sax, oboe, clarinet knows about staccatos, the tongue hitting the reed.
Correct.
Wow. Yeah.
And you were able to use words in that.
And then I'm like, oh my gosh, what if I could? Then I'm a. You know, all that stuff. And
Right.
then I thought, what if I could do reggae with rap? And then I started working on what they call the stuttering or the triplets or the ragamuffin. And then in one of my battles, I did something like, well, I'll be the ripping, I'm thinking I'm making, giving my time. I'll be the ripping, I'm thinking I'm making the sucking, I'm making the kicking with the rhyme. And then people were like, oh my gosh, and I switch to reggae. Is a man that want to feel, thinking I'm making the sucking, I'm making the kicking with the deal. Some about to feel like coming, nothing is impossible.
That's sick, bro.
And then
That's sick.
everything changed. And then you know what? All those girls started going, that white boy is fine. Everything changed. And then I became Diamond D from that point on.
Got it. Got it. You talked about your father, your biological father, going to prison.
Yeah.
How did not having a father in your life during those crucial times impact, good or bad, in the way you're a father today?
Okay, so I missed my dad. I always wondered where he was, even though I didn't really know him. You know what I mean? But I knew I had a dad out somewhere, and my dad was in and out of prison for years and years and years. I have the arrest warrants. Here's the thing, Chris, is that I have the actual arrest warrant from my great grandfather. Talk about ancestral trauma coming down. Okay, generational curses, generational cycles. It's 1896 in Arkansas where he's got arrest warrant for attempted murder. So this is, and so, you know, prison has just followed my family. Alcoholism, drug, all that stuff is followed. And even though I was in foster care, I knew I had a dad somewhere, like a real dad somewhere. But I had my foster dad, and my foster dad would spend time with me and work with me on music and support me in all my sports and Boy Scouts and all the things that, you know, boys sometimes do. And he set a pretty good example for me. But those first 5 years are the most formidable. So when you feel a sense of rejection and abandonment, it doesn't magically just go away when you feel love from another man or feel love from a mom or a dad, another mom or dad, right? And so it would take time. What really helped me was when I had my first kid, I was scared. I didn't know what kind of dad I was going to be. I didn't want to be a dad. I mean, that's the truth. I mean, that's the brutal truth. My wife and I have been married 7 years, and we knew when we got married that we weren't going to have, we weren't going to have kids. I just didn't want to bring kids up in this evil world. I didn't want kids to ever go through what I went through. And so 7 years without a thought process of having kids. And then my wife says, what do you think about being a dad when we're 30? And I'm like, nah. She goes, well, you're crazy Uncle Derek to the kids, the nieces and nephews. I'm like, yeah, they're not mine. I get to just be crazy.
Right, take them home, send them away.
Yeah. Get them wound up, do the things. And she says, I know you can be a good dad. I know you can be a good dad. And to be honest, behind every successful man is even more amazing woman, you know, and she worked with me. And I went through marriage counseling that helped me. And then I went and met my biological mom that started the healing process too, and started putting all the pieces of the puzzle. But I had a hard time being a dad at the beginning. I'm going to be honest with you. We were in marriage counseling because it caused a lot of stress. I didn't know what kind of dad. I was scared. So I was like, they're fragile, everything. And I got a 2-year-old and a baby now. And I remember we were in the marriage counseling and she was complaining, you know, that I'm not being that I'm not being a present dad. I'm working 16-hour days. I owned a mortgage company. I was a multimillionaire. I was doing all these things, right? And I thought part of being a dad is that you just provide. That's all you do. But you got to provide, preside, protect. You got to be present. You know what I mean? That's what I learned. And so I remember getting emotional, Chris and Rob, in this in this counseling session. I go, what do you want from me? I'm providing for you. I'm doing all these things for you. And she goes, those kids adore you. You come home and you only spend a couple minutes with them. It gets me emotional right now, actually. Sorry. But you spend only a couple minutes with them and then you go to your studio. I go, what do you want me? What do you want from me? And she goes, I want you to connect with your kids. And I'm like, I don't know how. And I'm sorry.
No.
And I said, I don't know how. And you know what she said? She goes, just get on the ground with them and let them climb on you. Let them be a horse. You be the horse. They love you. Just be in the moment. And that's the start of Rapping Dad. Honestly, man, that's the start of.
Thank you for
wow,
this.
I can be a present dad. I was scared to be a dad, man. I thought I was just gonna turn out like my dad. So I thought sometimes the best way is just for me to avoid it so that I don't curse them. They're getting all that good love from their mom. They're getting all that wonderful stuff. And I thought I'd just kind of step aside and let them just enjoy that, because I have a lineage of curses in my heritage, in my blood, in my ancestry, right? And so but I'm the first one to break the cycle on so many things. And yeah, tough. But that's the birth. Because then I started rapping and being a fun dad. I'm a fun, fair, firm dad. You know what I'm saying? I'm not my kid's best friend. Yeah. I hear parents all the time say at my events and stuff, oh, my 16-year-old daughter is my best friend, or my 15-year-old son's my best friend. Oh, yeah? No, they're not. You take away their iPhone, you'll see another side of them. You take away their Xbox or their PlayStation, you'll see a whole nother side. They're not your best friend, because best friends don't have leverage on each other. You have leverage on them. You can be best friends when they're out of the house. But yeah, no, that was tough, man. I got a little emotional there.
That was deep, Derek. That was really deep. I appreciate all those words, because dads out there, we're trying our best with everything that's going on. I mean, you've gone through the darkest times and the most trying times, and what would you say right now, even with what we have going on with COVID, with fathers out there that don't have jobs, they can't provide for their family, they're at the end of their ropes, they don't know what to do, they're frustrated, and at the same time they want to be there for their kids, but unfortunately they can't provide. What kind of hope, motivation, inspiration can we give these dads to keep on trucking, keep on doing what we're doing? Because being a dad is important, and just having that presence of being there for your kids is important. So that's why I got, what do you think about that?
I think you just hit it. It's about presence. It's not about presents like gifts. It's about presence. And these kids will remember everything. I'm sure you remember stuff about your dad, or if your dad didn't show up to a baseball game or a soccer game, or your dad didn't show up, blah, blah, blah. Those things will haunt them forever, right? It's like, well, my dad didn't show up on this. So I think you got to just keep giving. You give more, you give more. You got to find that balance. I have a hard time sometimes with my balance. I'm a worker bee, you know what I'm saying? So I work a lot, but then I also got to remember, shut it down, and my wife will help me. And kind of shut down.
They're helpful.
Yeah, and kind of just bring it. She's the glue, right? She brings it all together. But I think you should reach out to other fathers, because there is no perfect dad, ladies and gentlemen. There's no perfect dad. There is no perfect mom. There is no perfect parent. And if you're vulnerable with other parents, those parents will probably give you some insight too, because they were probably once suffering as well, and they figured out a formula that works for their family. So you got to talk. You got to reach out to someone like me, or to Chris, Rob, reach out. That's the goal. That's the key. I'm sorry. Reach out, ask for help, because I've had a friend that committed suicide and left 3 kids. You know what I mean? And so he was at the end. He was not making any money, everything. I wish I just talked to him like 2 weeks before, right? And so I wish that people would just reach out more, because it's not about fake book. It's not about all this social media and comparing yourself. What's real is when we're vulnerable and we take off our masks, and we're all in the same freaking boat. A lot of us, or maybe we jumped a boat, but we were once in the same boat you were, and we're in a little better boat now, So you got to talk.
And you know, that's what we wanted to do with Real Dad Talk, is to provide a platform where dads can, you know, just chop it up, exchange your stories. You know, we don't sit around a coffee table like, you know, moms do
Yeah.
and point out the things that our kids do, but we still have our thoughts, but we
Yeah.
just don't sit around and talk about it. And you know, one of the things that I saw you talk about, which was really cool, was your daddy girl dates,
Oh yeah,
right?
daddy
Your
daughter
daddy
days.
daughter dates,
Yeah.
right? Tell me a little bit about that. I got two girls, that's why.
Yeah. Well, I've heard over and over about the research that daughters will pick their dads as mates later on, you know, as husbands.
Yes.
And I thought, wow, I want to just give her so much education about how dirty dog guys are. Number one, right? You know, as a teenager.
Like, I know what he's up to. I know what he's up to.
I know what he's up to. And so, you know, dads want to protect, but we want to give a lot of information to our daughters. So I utilize that time to give her a lot of information on how guys think, not just sexually, but
No, yeah, of
also,
course.
you know, other things.
Or the lack of thinking. For
Yeah,
crying
the
out
lack
loud.
of thinking, right? Yeah, definitely. And so I tried to just utilize that time to really just not to dog on guys, but just to let her be aware there's good guys out there, and then there's good guys that maybe don't have the best of intentions, but they need a girl or someone. But you don't need to fix bad boys. So many girls tried to fix me. I was a bad boy, and I ended up corrupting them.
Mhm.
So like stay in your lane, right? You know, like don't try to go fix a bad boy. You know, they need to fix. You're not the rehab. You're not rehab for them. But the thing is I wanted her to understand, you know, kind of my life, where I came from, how I was as a crazy teenager, and just give her information, but also open up her door. And I remember her saying, like, oh, okay, because I would take her to get a uh, oh, those dolls, American Doll, or we do the teddy bear, fill the teddy bear thing and
Mhm.
make a teddy bear. And like I do all these things since she was young. And then we'd always go out, and we were running out of time one time. And I go, oh, we got to get home. Why don't we just go Subway real quick and get a sandwich? She goes, oh, Dad, don't we want someone that waits on us? And I'm like,
Is that
oh, she
right?
goes, Dad. So then I would take her to the Elephant Bar or somewhere nice, right? And to see how it is. And I would hold her chair open, and I would open up her door and all the things, treat her as a queen she is. And then she would come home and tell mom that I'm a queen, and mom would say, no, I'm the queen, you're the
You're the
princess, right?
princess.
I get treated the best. Or no, not, I'm just playing. But like the thing is I would utilize that time to really just connect with her, and then hear what she's thinking. Well, we role play. That's, I come from a sales background, so sometimes the best sales is through role playing. You know, so then you
Mhm.
understand how to resolve concerns, or how to deal with negativity that comes your way, and how to react to that. So we role play. Uh, you know, I might even joke with her that you get pregnant by kissing. You know. That's when she was young, right? So you don't want to kiss any boys. I mean, I was kissing girls at fifth grade already. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So like, I'm like, oh my gosh, she's fifth grade. She could have been one of those girls kissing a guy, right? So
these
I
these
just,
these urban legends are needed.
I know.
And these myths, urban legends, whatever you call them, are definitely needed.
So then we would definitely like rap, or she'd sing and I'd rap, and we caught it a few times in there. You know, on YouTube, you'll see like daddy daughter
Mhm.
dates, or Facebook. So yeah, it's just fun.
So I've seen your son knows how. His son's very talented on the
Yes.
guitar.
Yes.
He raps as well.
Yes.
Your daughter sings. I mean, you all these kids are singers. I mean,
Yeah.
would you push them to, if they want that, to go after that spotlight, entertainment, music business?
No, I wouldn't push them. I would support them. So I would not live vicariously through them, because that's what I wanted. You know, ever since 8 years
Right.
old, even in my book, I say the one thing I wanted to be at 8 years old was a rock star. My favorite band was AC/DC, you know, and so
That's-
like it was all about those beats too, and
yeah,
AC/DC
yeah,
drum beats, right?
Mhm.
yeah.
And so, but I've learned not to push. I've learned to support them and let them know that I'm there during the hard times, that I'll support them, even if they lose in tennis or whatever they want to give up. And I'll help support them, because it's all about mindset. You
Mhm.
know, um, so yeah, I'll help them achieve, and I'll give them some motivation, and maybe not let them quit when they want to quit, because a lot of people
Yeah.
just want to quit. It's a choice to be a winner. It's a choice to be a quitter, right?
Yeah.
And so, but in this industry, to be honest, no, I wouldn't want them in it. No, it's too much drugs and sex and Illuminati, and we can get all into that stuff. We can get into selling your soul. You know what I mean? And so it's not worth
Yeah.
losing your kid. Look at
I
all
mean,
look at all the young kids from Disney to all the movies that have had
How they
struggles.
turn out, unfortunately.
Yeah,
but I'll say one thing though. They are talented. I saw
thank you.
that video with your son was playing his song on the guitar and also rapping, and you were rapping.
Yeah,
It was awesome, man. It was
yeah,
really cool.
thank you. Yeah, they're all got their talent. He's really talented at rapping and singing and making
Awesome.
hooks and all this stuff.
That's
But
solid, man.
he just does it for fun. He's not pursuing it. He put out a few songs, and I support him. Took him to the studio, did all that stuff. But I think too that they saw what Dad was doing,
Mhm.
and they have to make their own decision as a teenager. Do you want to be like your dad and be a rapper, or be like, like look at Will Smith's son or Will Smith's
Yeah.
daughter, or like all
Yeah.
these other people, right? I'm sure the Rolling Stone, how many kids Mick Jagger have? Are they all singers, right? You know what I mean? No, I mean, so you let the kids find their own path.
Yeah.
This just happened to be my path. And a lot of parents make the mistake on, I believe, just pushing them towards, no, this is what you want to be. You're going to be an attorney. You're going to be a doctor. You're going to do this. You're going to do that. No, let the kid figure out his path. God has a plan for him. That's how I
How
look
Right
at it.
on.
how
I
long
love it.
was how long was your foster father and mother in your life? Until what age?
Yeah. So when I aged out or timed out, we call it,
Oh, is that what's okay?
yeah, 18 years old, the check stopped coming to the foster parents. So they had been in my life for about 10 years, 11
Yeah.
years. Yeah.
Do you still talk to your foster dad?
Yeah. They're my grandma. Well, they're grandma and grandpa to the kids.
Awesome.
So
Awesome.
they're my
That's
mom and
awesome.
dad. It's not about blood. It's about love. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah, and another thing that popped into my head was when we were talking about dads doing whatever they can do, however small it is, just being present. Um, what would you tell the fathers out there who are, let's say, coming out of relationships where they're afraid to go to the court system to try to, get the paternity rights and to get the custodial time because they're scared of what the mother can possibly do, or just the fact that they're not interested. What would you tell that absent father that it's worth it? Try, look to the resources available to you.
yeah, don't give up the fight. In fact, just try to figure out how to find a compromise. It's so him against her, him against her.
And it should
You
be
gotta,
about the child.
yeah, it should be about the kid, but you got to find the compromise. Forget the ego on both sides. And
Yeah.
sometimes if you give a little, they might give a little, not all the time, but just try to be the peacemaker. Peace is power, not anger. Anger is not power. Literally, anger is one letter away from danger. So if you always angry, 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 and your inside is always just in turmoil and stuff, how are you going to be such a present dad too? You know what I mean? So sometimes just going through the compromise process for the kid.
The the foster care system, uh, do you ever get involved with that to see how maybe it could be better improved to where children are able to benefit from that more? Because the reality is that, some dads aren't going to be around. And if the dad's not around, then the parent or whoever their parent figure is going to have to be working to be able to support them. And they're absent, unfortunately, because they have to earn the money to be able to put food on the table. What is it that you think that the system can improve in order to better help just like when you go to jail, the idea is that you're supposed to rehabilitate and be able to come back and be a functioning part of society. What is it that these businesses, I'm gonna call it, are lacking?
Well, the system is not set up, unfortunately, to help um, keep the families together. You know, there should be a program where there should be a program where these kids, here's the deal. We should all take parenting classes. That should be mandatory. Just like before you get married, you should take marriage family counseling or something. Marriage
I actually did that.
No,
I actually did that.
Yeah, and some religions teach that, and do that. But there's no, you don't just all of a sudden become a great husband or a great wife. I was divorced 1,000 times the first couple years of my marriage, right? I've been married 26 years now, but the first couple years, even the first 10 years, sometimes were hard, right? And you're like, oh, let me get out of here, and or she wants to get out of here, or whatever, right? And so, but the system needs to be set up just like the prison system. I speak in prisons, I speak in juvies. It's a revolving door. They get in, they get out. They get in, they get out. They go in, they go back in, they get out, right? And there's no positive role models for them when they get out. They usually go back to the street or go back to their dysfunctional home and stuff like that. So we need a system that creates parenting classes for everyone, and teaches them role playing as well. Teaches them, once your kid has been taken away or you're in foster care, you go through this reunification therapy, but you should also go through parenting classes, and then also have real world experience. Like when your kid talks back at you, you don't smack them or hit them with a belt, or all the things that happen, right? So you need to learn to you learn to communicate, not escalate. You learn these certain tools that all of a sudden you become a better parent, and you learn dysregulation of your emotions, and you learn not to take things personal, and you learn that you're an adult and you don't have to act like a kid. And so I would say that would be one thing, is we need to get more
just to educate them more,
educate and how to deal with stuff.
Me and Chris always talk about a resource called Fatherhoodpedia, where if there's ever an issue, like let's say your kid acts a fool at a birthday party, you're like, page 76. How do I? Okay, all right. A, you got to first take the kid out of the birthday party. Whatever.
Right.
Everybody wants that manual, because no one has a manual. We all get better every day.
Yeah. So if my son was acting a fool at a birthday party, and let's say he was 10 years old, I would walk over to him and say, "Hey, can you come here? Daddy's got to talk to you for a little bit." And then he would come. I wouldn't make a scene. I wouldn't do anything. I'd go, "Hey, here's the deal. People are going to talk about you later. You like talk about you, right? So don't you want to be cool? Don't you want to be chill? Right? Yeah, you can act a fool once in a while or here, but right now they're getting ready to blow out the birthday candles, and so the party isn't about you. The party's about your friend, right?
That's cool.
So stuff like that.
We'll take a page from that. Can we put your name on the bottom of it? But Derek. Well.
The key is not to react real quick, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Or sometimes you can give the look. Every dad's got a look, right?
Yeah.
Like, oh, my dad means business.
That look like the kid gets afraid, but at the birthday party, they're just laughing at that point. So sometimes I'm like,
they're having a good time. They're around their peers, are doing their thing, but you just want to rein them in a little, right?
Yeah. Do you treat? Sorry, Rob. Is the discipline between your daughter and your boys different just because of the gender?
Yeah, but I still communicate with them. I'm not a yeller. Number one, once in a while the lion roars. But generally I'm not a roarer. I'm not a yeller. I just try to talk, and then obviously there's consequences for the actions. There'll be consequences for my daughter at some point, and when she's done some stuff, and there's consequences for. Things can be taken away. Maybe you take a break for a week off something, and to get your head straight again, right? But I think that I'm not into I'm into connection versus correction. That's what I really try. Alliance versus compliance, right? So I'm not a dictator. I'm a communicator. I really try to be a communicator. And
because what might work with your son,
they're not yours. At 18, they're adults. You let them fly. So you hope that you didn't want to be a dictator or a policeman all the time, because you never allowed them to make their own mistakes to find themselves. Do you see what I'm saying? So you're going to have to make mistakes, because at 18, you don't just magically make good choices. So if you've made a bunch of poor choices before you're 18, maybe you're going to start making good choices because now you're an adult. But if you never made any bad choices and all of a sudden
You're
you're an
gonna
adult
start
and you
that
go
at
off to
that point.
university and you're smoking weed and you got a DUI and you're doing this and you are selling pills for this and doing all this stuff at the college or university, you try to get all that crap out, before they become adults. So I understand, my wife and I understand that they're going to make mistakes. And we got to just try to be there to connect. Now, I'm not a liberal parent where I'm just going to like, oh, let them do everything they want to do. No, there's still boundaries, there's still rules, but there's consequences for those rules. Just like in real life, you're not going to face your dad when you're adult. You're going to face the judge, the policeman, your probation officer, the warden, the county, all that
Whoever
stuff,
it
right?
is, yeah.
So your boss, your wife. So I hope that they will have gotten out a lot of those mistakes in their teenage years.
And to learn the tools on
That's how you learn.
deal with it.
So where does wife come in on this? Wife is the highest on the totem pole, or is the police? I don't know where the wife falls in. I think the wife is. I think for me, the wife is always the highest.
No, we run it pretty good, but I'm a fun dad, and I'm a fair dad, and I'm a firm dad. So I mean, you got to have boundaries. Just like if you let your 5-year-old run around the zoo, what could happen at the zoo? They could fall in, right?
Yeah.
So you got to have boundaries.
Yeah.
So,
so I've been
think about when I grew up, right?
Yeah.
And I didn't have the boundaries for years, and I was this angry boy, and out of control, and always fighting, always suspended, just busted all the time. And so, but I'll throw a rap for you right now.
Go for it.
About my life as a teenager.
Nice.
And it will bring it together, because raising teenagers is tough. I got 3 teenagers right now.
Oof.
And it is tough, and it's who they surround themselves with.
Yeah.
You change your friends, you change your life. You change your thoughts, you change your life, right? And so I had to learn that. I had to learn to believe in myself. So I wrote this rap when I was a teenager that kind of gives you an inside look to what I was going through. So it goes like this: who's gonna win and who's gonna lose? I never thought I'd be.
You were about to curse. I was about to curse if I had finished that line.
No, I was like, sometimes you find filler words. So sometimes I have a bunch of phrases in my head, right? But this is like something: who's gonna win and who's gonna lose? I never thought I'd be wearing these shoes of life. Man, it don't feel right. When am I gonna see the light and feel the light? Walk with me. Someone walk with me. Come on, Dad. Yeah, just talk to me. Have you ever thought about me in your life? Why'd you want to kill me and take away my life? I'm your blood dad. I'm your son dad. Yeah, it's messed up knowing that I never knew my dad, who didn't want to be a dad. What's up with that? Don't understand, but yo, I got to move past. Hey, daddy, hey, where you been? In the jail cell, yeah, once again. You ain't never seen me smile, never seen me walk, never seen me talk, never seen me rock this microphone. Yeah, this is my home. Let me out of my pain, because I know I'm not alone. Yeah, these are my peeps, and I'm telling how I feel. This is no secret, and I'm keeping it real now. Mama, why'd you have to run away? Why'd you leave me alone? Why'd you have to make me pay for my daddy's sins and daddy's eyes and daddy's pain and daddy's lies? Now I'm on the outside, yeah, looking inside. I'm gonna bust this curse, even if I gotta die. Everything, every time, everything. Everybody loses something sometime. I never thought I'd have to lose my mind and lose my world and lose my soul and lose the ones who really gave me hope. Now my sister's been killed, and my brother's been killed, and my friend's been killed. When am I gonna heal? In the snap of a finger, and my life gets jacked in my brain. I'm thinking I'm making it start to feel trapped where the love was. Yeah, hate begins. Now I'm mad at the world because the pain won't end. I'll cover up the hurt. I'll cover up the shame. I'm caught in the middle of a hurricane of pain. So live this life. Will someone help me? Man, I need you. Say a prayer for me. Let me believe that you believe in me. Let me believe that you believe in me. Let me believe that you believe in me. Yeah. That's without cuss words.
I love it.
They
And
used to
that's
have
what
cuss
every,
words in there.
yeah, that's
Awesome.
without cuss words.
That's
Thank
awesome,
you.
man. That's awesome.
So yeah, so raising teenagers,
Yeah.
the suicide rate's the highest, right? And they got social media, they got all these personal connections on social media, but in real life, research has shown 25% of teenagers don't even have one real friend. So I got a big social media following, and the two most common messages that I get, Chris and Rob, is number one, will you be my dad? Like, just fun. Like, I love you as a dad, Number two, I'm thinking about killing myself. And these are teenagers from 13 years on all the way to 60-year-old people, right? But a lot of teenagers, suicide. And what's the first thing I do? I go to their profile and I see the first thing I look for is how many friends they got. I was dealing with a 17-year-old girl, 2,200 Facebook friends. And she wrote to me saying, I'm so alone in this life. How did you make it, Derek? And she's reaching out to me, and I got that little blue check mark, that little celebrity blue check mark, but she feels the need to reach out to me because she feels connected through a video, right? But she's feeling so alone. She's got 2,200 Facebook friends. So I look at her, fake friends on Facebook, right? So then I go and I see what she posts. Is it positive, negative? And then I always write them back. It takes me some time though, but I mean, I have so many messages, but I write back and I always say something like this at the end. The meaning of life is to give your life meaning. The secret of living is giving. So what are you doing to help other people? See, I gave a TED talk on the power of determination, and I came up with an acronym for HOPE. I'm not a hate dealer. I'm not a dream stealer. I'm not a dope dealer. I'm a hope dealer. And here's HOPE. Helping one person every day. That's how I live my life. It's not about being selfish. It's about being selfless. You want to get outside yourself. That's how you fill yourself up, by giving, right? The secret of living is giving. And so when it becomes more than one person, then it becomes hope, helping other people excel. So I tell people all the time, what are you doing to contribute to this world? How are you contributing to make someone else's life better? Then you will be filled with hope, and it will give you meaning in life, because the meaning of life is to give your life meaning.
And correct me if I'm wrong or share your thoughts on this. These children, well, actually, I'm asking your input on this. Where do you think the children are lacking that allows society, other than confidence, okay? Where are the children lacking where they actually become a perfect victim, for people on social media who are doing the bullying and making that child more receptive to being bullied?
So rephrase that question.
So what can you do as a father, right, so that your child is less susceptible to being bullied?
So, to being bullied.
Less susceptible to being bullied, right?
Besides the whole confidence issue.
Yeah, because you're not going to tell them, okay, beat the crap out of him if he starts talking trash to you or she starts talking trash to you.
Here's what I tell people all the time. The most important opinion you should have is not what other people, not what your pastor thinks about you, not what the president of the United States thinks about you, not what your teacher thinks about you, not what Chris and Rob think about you, not what Rap and Dad thinks about you. It's what you think about yourself. And so those parents have got to help feel their soul that those are just words. Yeah, because I was bullied. I had warts all over my hands at 9, 10 years old. And I had over 100 warts on my hand, and they call me Wart Man. It's in my book. And I would go down the halls at school and at elementary school, and they call me, ooh, the Wart Man, the Wart Man. I got my front tooth knocked out by a bully. And so what happens though is sometimes the anger came, right? And I became the bully then, right? The bully, the victim
reflected back.
It's reflected back. Now I'm pissed at the world and I'm gonna hurt the world, right? Because I've been hurt. But personally, you got to help them. It really comes to the confidence. It comes to the self-belief that who cares what they think. But when you start doing physical bullying, right? The physical, that's what I got involved in, where they were physical with me. Then I totally tell parents all the time, get your kid in Taekwondo, or I did Shoshu Kung Fu,
Mhm.
Close Encounter, Krav Maga, whatever you want to do, so that once they understand your power,
Mhm.
they're going to be like, oh, okay, yeah, we're not going to mess with this guy. And that's the thing is, the peace is the power. The peace can come off very strong,
Yeah.
like,
Right.
and so it's getting that self-confidence. And in a world where it's getting more crazy physical, like people just start knocking people on the side of the
Mhm.
street,
For
right?
the hell of
People
it.
just hit you. People cold clock high school students. They're
Yeah.
doing it.
Yeah.
And so they just, it's the knockout game or whatever. And so uh, you want them to be around, be aware of their surroundings. That's a big thing, right? But also to have the confidence that you can talk it down too. You don't want to ever be in a fight, even though I've been in so many fights and whatever.
Mhm.
But anything, and parents will tell me all the time, oh, Taekwondo seems violent. Actually, it teaches you to be in control. And also
Of
you have a
yourself.
master or whatever, whatever you want to call them. And they're your corner. So you have any problems, your kid can go talk to their sensei, their master, their Shen Shifu, their, Shihan. They can talk to them, and then they have another person in their tribe, right, in their village. And so, but
So
I
no
realize
Cobra
it
Kai.
comes to mindset. It comes to self-belief in yourself.
Yeah.
And then, and you have to decide what is bullying too, because we grew up, people called us names. We called people
That's right.
names. And so you have to also realize that it's a name. It's a
Yeah.
name.
You
And
got to have a
unfortunately,
thick skin to a certain extent
yeah.
too.
And
You
what's
know?
going to happen then? Are you going to be the victim when you're an adult and somebody calls you a knucklehead or a blah, blah, blah at work? Now you're going to claim it's being bullied, where if you look up the definition of bully, it's over some process, it's over some
Mhm.
time. It's not just a one-time thing, but people throw that out, and you got to be strong. You got to have thick skin too.
Mhm.
But I understand feelings are hurt. I do understand that you can get your feelings hurt, but you don't have to unpack and live in those feelings. And those
Right.
feelings and those words don't define you.
So is that what rap, in a sense, did for you when? Well, this is correlated into another. Well, I wanted to ask you this question from the beginning, but
Well, hold on one
I'm-
second. Hold
Go
on one
ahead. Go
second.
ahead. My bad.
Would I say that I've been bullied as rapping dad? Because I have received, I mean, what have I had? Almost 300 million views. I have thousands of comments that call me every single name.
Oh,
No,
that you're
I have
that you're
to,
not a rapper.
yeah,
You
not a
can't rap.
rapper, that I'm a culture
Yeah.
vulture, that I'm this,
Yeah.
that I'm that I'm that they call me, they call me every F word, they call me all these names, and I just
Yeah.
go in and delete and ban and block and
Yeah.
all that stuff. But I have thick skin, and I realize that's just part of the game, right? And so, but if I didn't have thick skin, how would I probably wouldn't have. I have confidence, and I
Yeah.
just keep putting out videos knowing that people are going to be haters and trolls, but that's a reflection on them and not me. And for a little while at the beginning, when I was on World Star Hip Hop twice, 95% of the comments were awesome, but there was that 5% that I was fighting.
There's always going to be
Yeah.
that. There's always going to be a hater.
So you have to have some thick skin, and that's probably where I've come from foster care, is because I got thick skin. I've been rejected. I've been abandoned. I've realized that my best friend is me, and that it's
Yeah.
just me against the world sometimes. So
Yeah, but in today's society, I mean, look, I'm not a fan of participation trophies.
me too. Me neither.
Okay, I can't stand that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you want to raise your children in the way that you feel best contributes to their future life, right?
Right.
But at the same time, they go out in society today, and in your mind, the right way to them is a wrong way. So basically, being polite, courteous, respectful is like frowned upon now. It's like if you are that way, then there's something wrong with you because nobody acts that way anymore.
Yeah.
And then the child starts turning it in with themselves, and instead of taking pride in having such beautiful qualities as an individual, people out there don't appreciate it as much. And you got to just, I don't know. It's tough.
Well, here's the truth: is the way you're going to get strong is not by reading a book. It's not by someone else. It's you going through your struggle and finding your grit, finding your determination, finding your tenacity, and realizing, holy cow, look how far I've overcome. Look how far I've come and what I've overcome. If you just look at your own lives, what you've overcome in the last 10 years of your life, we're overcoming COVID. We're overcoming the worst recession the United States ever saw 12 years ago, right? Like the losing of businesses, the suicide, all this stuff, right? Your friends committing suicide. I'm losing my business. I've lost so much. I lost my multi-million-dollar business in 2008. I almost lost my home. I had to get rid of all my toys, my motorhome, my Hummer, like all the things, my commercial building, my motorcycles, just to survive. And so, but through that, you build your strength. You don't learn how to swim by watching a video or watching someone else swim. How do you learn how to swim? You got to get in the freaking water, and you got to struggle, and you got to go overcome the fear. And you're like, oh my gosh, it's too deep. It's too deep. But you got to learn. And that's how there's no participation trophy in my family.
Yeah.
You got to go through the struggle, and that's how you build your strength.
So with growing up and all this going on and trying to not only deal with your own issues with family, and I mean, it's pretty tough setting that you grew up in.
Yeah.
And there is, music influencing you. You got into rapping, and that day and age, music was different. Rap was a lot different than it is now. So with the old school style of rap, and a new school style of rap, what would you say, in your opinion? I don't want to give you the top 5, but the top 3 rappers that helped influence you or that you liked growing up that brought you to this point.
Yeah, so obviously you're wearing one, Beastie Boys. I wanted to be the next honorary member of the Beastie Boys, right? But man, I was into NWA. I was into Too Short. See, Too Short comes from my part of the Bay, right?
Yeah.
So E40, MC Shy D, EPMD.
Yeah.
And then KRS-One, Boogie Down Productions, even like MC Light, Two Live Crew, Public Enemy, MC Search, like there's so many, but but probably for me was NWA, because obviously the attitude. But I remember sitting in my room with cassettes, or even when CDs came out, and I would turn off all the lights and I would close the blinds, and I would, because they had those little skits type of thing before each song, or prison doors closing, all this stuff, right? All the little skits. And I would just envision myself that I was part of NWA. Obviously I'm white, but you know what I'm saying? Like, but I love rap from the old school because it was about stories. It was about the struggle. Rap these days, I mean, there's a couple good rappers out these days. I like NF. I like a few of those. I forgot the name. Oh my gosh. There's a few that I like, but most of them are talking about popping a Molly or Percocet or whatever. And so I still listen to like 90s rap and 80s rap.
That's where I'm stuck.
I was having that conversation. I was at my
Tupac is the best.
Definitely.
He's still relevant today.
Definitely.
Still relevant today. In fact, I used to record at the same studio with Tupac in '91 when he was Digital Underground.
Yes.
Oh wow, yeah.
Underground, right? So think about all the acts that came from the Bay Area, right? You got Metallica, Faith No More, Testament, Counting, like all these big, and then you had all these big rappers. But if I want to juice myself up, right? Or I mean, juice isn't the right word anymore, but like pump myself up, right?
Yeah.
I'll throw in some Tupac to this day.
Yeah, it's always good stuff.
Yeah.
Man, Dare, I don't want to take up any more of your time. It really was nice. I'm glad we were able to do this. I could sit here and listen to you for hours, man.
Well, you know what? We got to throw a little rap. We got to do another rap.
How about we do real dad talk kind of rap? I don't know. What do you think? What are we thinking?
Okay, I got a little dad talk right here.
All right.
Okay, let's see here about some lessons, right?
All right.
Okay, some lessons. All right, dads. So here's a few lessons that I've learned. I've turned a mess into a message and earned a return. I've turned scars into stars, live like avatars. No one can stop you if you believe in your heart. And this is your life. Go and own it. Never let the past infect your future for a moment. Never let a weakness destroy your greatness. It's time to profess. You're too blessed to be stressed. Bam, you could be everything you want to be, but never let the enemy be your enemy. It's time to be better and not bitter. It's a choice to be a winner, and it's a choice to be a quitter. So if you've been knocked down or thought about suicide, get out of the shadows and hold your head high, because this is your time and this is your sign. Get up and climb. You were born for this moment to shine. All right, dads, there's the energy right there.
Love it, man.
Love it.
I love it. That's
All
solid,
right,
brother.
and dude, so where can people go to follow you? What are your handles?
Yeah. So if you ever want to reach out to me, reach out at Rapping Dad, RAPPINGDAD, Rapping Dad on Instagram, Rapping Dad on Facebook. And my website is iwillnevergiveup.com. iwillnevergiveup.com.
And your favorite book that you wrote? Not that you don't love all of them.
Man,
For dads, what do you think the ones that dads can benefit from the most?
Oh, I Will Never Give Up.
That one?
And then if
Awesome.
you've got some kids with some behavioral problems and have maybe gone through some trauma, then I would say Disable the Label, that book, Never Limit the Potential of a Child.
Awesome.
Solid,
Awesome.
man. Solid.
All right, guys. Thank you. Listeners out there, he's got a lot to say. We're not perfect. We just got to always fight the struggle. It's going to be difficult. Keep at it. Keep loving your children. Keep learning your children. Never give up on them, and they'll do right by you. So, Rob, close us out.
Derek, thank you for coming on the show. Everybody out there, please come check us out at The Real Dad Talk on Instagram and Twitter, and also on YouTube and Facebook, Real Dad Talk. Check you out next time. Thank you, Derek.
Yeah,
Thank
check
you,
it
dude.
out. Check it, Mike. 2, 3, 4. Here I am, rapping dad. Gotta give you more because I'm ripping. I'm thinking I'm making, taking my time. I never busted to a party with a comatose rhyme because I'm not Tech 9, not Busta Rhymes.
No.
Take it to the limit with a Beastie Boy line. No
Yeah.
sleep till Brooklyn. That's the deal. In our galactic license to ill. Old school, man. We pop it in. Ticket. Keep a finger licking when I barbecue chicken on a rap God mission with an Eminem vision. And I take it to the max and I'm getting his attention. And I'm always dropping wisdom. You got to pay attention as I'm rocking on the microphone, even for the prisons. No need to pop off. It's time to chill. Here I come with a little reggae ragamuffin feel. It's Amanda was a billabongy coming up strong, ripping it, thinking of making it, sucking and making it, kicking it up with another dad, rapping dad song. Peace.
Thanks,
Awesome.
guys.
Real Dad Talk.